the Suburban furnaces, the only thing holding this thing, the core and the cage, is the screw back here. That screw right there. You take that screw out, and you can see by the cutout in the cage, the core is going to have to come out this way.
Right.
Otherwise, that gas valve ain't going to slide that way.
Right.
On setups where there's a panel outside, the screw will be right here. It'll be right here in this plastic through the cage, and that's what holds it in. But because the setup we've got, there's no screw there. But we're going to have to take this core out. We're going to have to take this cowling apart and see if we can make some sense of why it's making that noise. It's just, I mean, just spinning it by hand here, I don't feel or hear anything.
I was about to ask, is there a way to give it 12 volts out here and
yeah,
make it
we
spin?
will. We will. Yeah, everything sounds fine, but let's get my tool bag and then we'll take her apart. Alrighty. Before we do that, you suggested putting 12 volts to it, and I'm just like, yep, we can do that. Let's see what we got.
I'll give her a good 18.
Yeah. Oh, we gotta put these together. Thermostat wires have to have continuity.
So that do they run with voltage too, or is it? Like...
But it's more of a signal purpose.
Okay.
Not a load purpose. But that white striped blue wire there is sending 12 volts to whatever thermostatic control we've got. She's got Coleman air conditioners, so that wire is actually on Coleman setups. Typically they just have one wire that runs to furnace, and when you turn on the thermostat for heat, it just sends 12 volts down on this blue wire, and that tells the board fire off. They've got two wires hooked up in that. I'm wondering what kind of setup they've done. All right, here we go. I don't hear a thing. I'm gonna try it on its side.
Or maybe push it a little bit. There's nothing to rest on it.
Everything is in place. It's intact. So now I'm wondering if the whole process of taking this out, and you saw what I had to do to get it out, scoot it down up on its edge, twist it around this way and get it out. I wonder if all of that manipulation corrected whatever was happening.
Could have been something in the fan, and with all that tilting, knocked it out of there.
You know what? That's probably entirely possible.
Is there anything
because when I did kick it up, I did hear a rattle, and I just assumed that was one of my screws.
This runs off return air, right? From inside the house?
Yeah.
Okay, so it wouldn't have pulled in any debris from outside or anything.
Well, it does have a fresh air intake. Okay, I just heard something inside there. Okay, I did hear something inside here. So maybe we're dealing with the fresh air fan now. Maybe not necessarily a failure of the fan, but there's something rattling in there. And it could just be a piece of debris of some kind.
Does it run continuously?
What's that?
The fresh air fan?
It only runs when the furnace is... It's one motor that runs both fans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so let's just do this. We went through the effort to get it out. Let's open it up. So we're gonna take that lonely screw out the back, and then let's tuck our wires in this way, and let's take it out of its cage. That is your actual furnace right there. All right. Unfortunately, this piece is one piece with this, so this whole piece has got to come off. So it's 2 screws and a bunch of snaps. And in the old days, there was screws all around it.
Probably very breakable snaps too, I'm guessing.
Yeah, they are very breakable. It's not a very good design, but I was able to take it apart last time with breaking no snaps. All right, so this black wire here, take that off the sail switch because it is. This black wire here comes from the high limit thermostat, which is there on the back. You can see a white wire and a black wire. Yeah. So if this gets too hot, that'll trip back there and kill the voltage that runs through the safety circuit.
So what is a sail switch? I heard that in the safety meeting. Is it basically like a relay?
Right. Basically, it's an air prover. So when that squirrel cage starts to spinning, this control board here wants to know that there's enough
airflow.
There's enough airflow, and if there's not enough to trip that trigger, then it won't start up.
So that could be from a bad filter, or
well, there's no filters on the RV furnaces.
So it'd probably be a motor then, a motor, or
yeah. If a sail switch is not tripping, it's either really dirty, and sometimes they just go bad and they don't trip like they should.
Okay.
We see probably more of that than anything. There's some debris right there that I can only imagine fell out of the furnace. All right, let's see what's hanging up that I can't get that off. Here's our igniter. And our fan motor. And let's see, our negative for the fan connects down here. Come on now. I never understood why Suburban puts this little pin here, and it just rides inside of that, the fresh air intake.
Huh.
But like these little aluminum.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that that's really the situation, though. It's let's see if I see.
I don't know, that little piece right there could make some racket.
Yeah. I don't know. It seemed like a constant scrubbing sound. What was
Right.
on our video? But there is no evidence on the squirrel cage that it was rubbing anything. Normally, you would see the evidence. The white might be a little harder to tell. But I don't see any missing teeth. But that would throw it out of balance, and that would be more of a banging noise.
I don't see any scratching or anything.
Let's see, let me take this negative wire out, and then we can get the furnace up and shake it. Yeah. Well, I see a couple Japanese beetles there. I see some stink bugs in the burn chamber. But again, is that what's causing the scrubbing, you know? That's a whole other question.
Be a lot of beetles.
Yeah. Look at there. One right there.
I mean, with something like this, Just do your due diligence, and then,
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know what more I can do, you know?
besides put it back together, then test the unit.
I mean, I could take all of this off, open up the burn chamber and all that, but again, we're dealing with the scrubbing sound with the
the motor.
wheels, not anything necessarily in there. But since I've seen them, I want to see if I can't knock those stink bugs loose and vacuum them out.
So would this be under warranty?
Well, if I can't figure out what the problem is, then we're just going to put it back together, reinstall it, test run it, see if we hear anything. If we don't hear anything and everything's fine, then I'm just going to just call it a day. I was the last one to fool with it,
Right.
and it was just a matter of days ago. So I don't really see that in charging her anything. See him?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Those are your friends, Jason?
Yeah.
Other than that, this thing looks spick and span inside. Normally you see dirt, dauber crap. Oh, there's a bunch of stink bugs right over there in the corner.
Well, this thing sucks on the battery, don't it? Like, it draws a lot.
Yeah?
56 now.
Yeah. I may need to send that battery back. That's supposed to be like an 8-hour battery.
I'm not even sure if we've been here an hour, have we?
Yeah. Yeah, look at that, man. It looks clean as a whistle inside there. Corrosion on here. Or something. I wonder if there's something else vibrating somewhere. Look what's hiding in there. I'm not saying that was the cause of the noise, but it's definitely some debris. That's the last time I was here, I didn't take this part off.
Right.
You know, I didn't need to. I was just replacing a squirrel cage. Now, if that motor is seated correctly, then this should just snap right back on. Let's double check. Yeah, it is seated correctly. Alright, that's how the new Suburban does there. And then we've got to run our negative for our fan motor back down back. This is our safety circuit here. And our igniter goes through here and goes onto these clasps. And like I said, negative goes down through. If you look here on the bottom of these Suburban furnaces, they got a small little negative bus here. And that is where the blower motor gets its negative. There we go. And just like we saw inside, the yellow for Suburban furnaces is negative, and that's all those yellows right there on that bus, except for the blower motor. Alright, so here we got blower positive, and if you look at the control boards, it just tells you right there. This is power in, our 12-volt power in to the control board, and it says PWR there.
Yeah.
And then BLO for blower.
Yeah.
And the tabs you can see are different sizes, so you can't screw up. So this
can only go one way.
It can only go on power. And then blower. Go right there. And then our igniter goes right here. All right, all of our wires are back together. Our screws are in place, our snaps are snapped. Our negative is back on the bus. This is ready to be reinstalled. So let's reinstall and see what we got. That's high tech right there, man. All right, so now we gotta line the screw up back here. And again, it's just that little guy right there that holds the core in the cage.
What is the purpose for the cage? I mean,
It's, well, one,
just a mount?
To contain the big squirrel cage is blowing the air across the heat exchanger.
Gotcha. So
And then with that back panel on, that air hits that and is forced out the ducts.
Gotcha.
You know, so some have those 3-inch flexible ducts off the side or off the top. This one just has the dump in the bottom.
So it's kind of like a shroud,
Mm-hmm.
like an air shroud, basically.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's containing and directing the air to where you need it to go.
Okay.
These holes right here, can you see on camera? These holes right here are where those 2 screws we pulled out that hold it to the floor. So, and then of course, you know, the exhaust ports up here, when we catch those through the wall, that's the only thing really holding the furnace in the camper other than the weight of it and gravity.
Right.
So you got your exhaust ports there, 2 screws here, and then you're ready to rock and roll. Okay, turn off radio. All right, so like I said already, I was out here, I don't know, last Thursday or Friday, and she had a mouse inside her furnace and it busted up her squirrel cage, so I put a new one in, put it all back together, nice, neat, tight, installed it, thing was running great, and then she called over the weekend and said it was making a grinding noise. So she played me the little video she made of it so I could hear it. And I didn't bother to turn it on and listen to it myself because I believed her video. And still do believe her video. But could not get the furnace to replicate the little grinding noise when I took the furnace out to the truck and powered it up and run it. It was running fine. Well, come to find out, she said, well, it starts off fine, but after a couple minutes, it starts making the grinding noise. So the best that we can surmise is I made a little modification to her furnace last week. Her control board on the furnace was not clicking into the clasp that holds it. So I drilled a small little hole on the cowling and put a screw in there to hold the control board still. And I used, you know, a Suburban Furnace screw, you know, I don't know, about 1 inch long. And it looked to me as if it's out of the way of the squirrel cage. It's not going to conflict with it at all, but I'm gathering that what happened is when the furnace would heat up and the plastic of the squirrel cage would expand a little bit, I have a feeling it was expanding, and then that's when it was touching the screw. So I don't know, we can't find any other discernible reason as to why it would be making that noise. So we cut the screw in half, put it back in to hold the control board on the cowling. So now there's no screw at all protruding into the chamber where the squirrel cage spins.